The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Sunday, May the 21st, and we are here to have a look across a 12-game card of action for Monday, May the 22nd. It's an OG special. Joining me, the hardest working man at SGPN, Mr. Munaf, Daddy Cool, Manji. Munaf, how you doing?
Doing well. Good to be back on the MLB pod. Missed you guys. It's a new week. It's always fun to Sunday to kind of get our heads together and get ready for the new week of baseball. I know there's been some great action happening over the last week or so in a couple of weeks, but we're starting to see some teams kind of round into form here, Mal. I know we've talked about during the regular season how we know that some teams are going to be bad, some teams are going to be good, some teams are going to be contending, but looking forward to another week of baseball.
Yeah, you're right. There's a few teams that we shouldn't do this, I know, but it's so hard when you look at the recent form and you see a team of won 2 out of the last 10 and stuff. But the Cardinals are suddenly back and scoring a gazillion runs every night. The Dodgers are just starting to flex the muscles a bit. We did have one comment waiting for us in the comment section before we got here. From Christopher Moore, which just says Astros offense is pathetic in capital letters. So that was a nice start for us. I tell you what, Munaf, though, we've got a new dynamic in our relationship. Munaf is the midnight baby feeding Munaf, where we have a little chat, because normally you do our chats at different times of the day, but now I'll send a message at 9 a.m, and all of a sudden I'll get a reply. And I just know that you're sitting there with your bottle and your baby. So is this what's going on now? Is it the midnight feed reply? Is that what you're doing?
That's exactly what it is now. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, he has an alarm system, like an internal body clock. Like every 2 hours, like right on the dot, he's like, he'll start wailing. So me and my wife, we try to stay ahead of it, have the bottle ready for him, but yeah, I'm usually like either on my phone, feeding him at the same time, trying to check scores and things like that, or responding to messages. But yeah, you kind of turn into a zombie after the first couple of nights. Your body just gets used to it. So yeah, I'm on my phone. I'll be answering messages or tweets or looking at the schedule for the next day or so.
Yeah, it did make me laugh when the first message popped up. I thought, what's Munaf doing up at this time? And then it dawned on me. Yeah, so that's cute, Munaf. There's a few people in the chat congratulating you, Randy and TVDBJ, amongst others as well. Now, have you noticed, Munaf, my Newcastle Nighthawks jersey is missing today behind us? Why is it missing, Munaf?
So I'll say this. Either you had a really good game here today and there's some fan that was in the stands that wanted your autograph and you took your jersey off like the gentleman that you are and autographed it and sent him on his way and made his day.
Well, not that extravagant, no, because I've been wearing it, Munaf. Because we've had a game, it was exciting. I'll tell you what a beautiful day it's been today. Normally, when I talk to you, the rain is going sideways past the window. But not a cloud in the sky today, so I went down. I haven't practiced much, Munaf, so I wasn't expecting to get a game. I took my chair, and I just got my arse in my chair. And the umpire shouted play ball, and everyone ran on the field. And our first baseman done his knee popped out literally as they were winding up for the first pitch. So Jose looked across to me and went, you're in. He did call me Steve. So that tells you the level that I'm working at here. I've clearly made a big impression in the clubhouse, Muna. Steve, you're in. So
you probably turned around and looked behind you. I was like, who is Steve?
Who's Steve? What I did in about the 4th inning, I went up to the batting lineup and got my finger and rubbed Steve off and wrote my name in. Batting 7th. Joe said had a look. He was like, shit, I've been calling him Steve all day. So yeah, I played 2 legs of the double header, Munaf, and I am crippled. My feet are in shreds. I'm psychologically in tatters. That's why I've got my little red face because I've been out in the sunshine.
You're a little more mellow today as well. I noticed that.
I had a lovely time. It's the exercise, mate. Does you good, doesn't it? Like, yeah, whatever it releases in your brain. But yeah, I got a hit. I scored the first run of the game. That was exciting. We won 9-0, and then we won 17-4 in the second game. Struck out looking, struck out swinging. One hit, one steal, 2 walks. And I turned a beautiful double play, Munaf, and the umpire didn't call he called the runner safe at first. I was not happy about it. Got the man at second, pivoted, right arm like a traction engine, into first, called him safe. But yeah, I've had a lovely time doing it. So there you go. Right then, I'll tell you what, Noah's beaten me in that fantasy league as well. So Sunday night, and Noah has got the beating of me at the moment. It's tight. I need a little win. Pablo Lopez needs to shove another 4 in scoreless, and I might just overhaul him. But we've got 12 games on Monday. Yeah, we will get to. I'll tell you first about Edge Boost. Edge Boost, if you haven't signed up, you are missing out. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Similar to buy now, pay later programs. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest and pay back the advance over 4 equal weekly installments. That's right, 0% interest. Simply deposit funds into your account, and Edge Boost will match the deposit so you can use double the funds on any legal sports betting site. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in advances, up to $2,500 that you can add to your bankroll. Our Edge Boost double down play of the day will be upcoming in a little while. So look out for that. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years old to use. Only valid in legal gambling states. Problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. The one other thing we need to mention is how Dylan Rockford has single-handedly fixed the Mets, Muna.
Yes.
He's just fixed them. They've got on a 5-game winning streak since Dylan was jumping up and down in his chair the other night. I know who clipped that today. Was that somebody clipped that and put it out on Twitter? Because that's the most animated I've ever seen Dylan, and they haven't lost a game since.
Yeah, I was going to mention the same thing. That's probably the most animated I've seen him. Not only on our pod here on MLB, but also he's also part of the NFL gambling podcast crew. So yeah, we got the video team or the social team to clip it, and then we got it out on Twitter. So now, Mal, if the Mets do go on to win the World Series, we're gonna have to bookmark that. We're gonna have to bookmark that tweet and rant, and I think the city of New York will have to, at least the South Side, will have to give a huge thank you to Dylan for his rant a couple nights ago with you. But yeah, it was epic. I've never seen Dylan like that.
It was good. It made me laugh a lot. Yeah. So where do you want your statue moment for Dylan? We'll see how they go. But they certainly play. That's another team. I mentioned the Cardinals. I mentioned the Dodgers. And all of a sudden, I mean, literally, it was maybe Thursday night or Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And we're kind of writing the Mets off, which, I mean, you just never, ever learn in baseball what's about to go down. The first game tomorrow. Now, what I'll do at the top of the show, I'll caveat that we've got, because there's a lot of baseball going on as we speak, they are, of these 12 games, we've got a couple of TBD pitches, a couple of question marks, and I've got at least 2 games off the board, which isn't bad, actually. It can sometimes be worse. There are 12 games on Monday, so we can handicap lots of them for you. The first one, 6:10 Eastern first pitch, is the Chicago White Sox and the Cleveland Guardians. Now, this is completely flip-flopped, because this morning I handicapped Mike Clevenger for the White Sox, and he's gone off the slate. He is TBD. And I had no pitcher for Cleveland, and I'm now seeing Hunter Gaddis for Cleveland. So at this point, I don't know what to do with any of this. Munaf, any suggestions?
No. I mean, we don't have lines like you mentioned, and then the White Sox, like you mentioned, had Mike Clevenger and then flipped. I do see Hunter Gaddis starting for the Guardians, but I think you and I both know, and a lot of our listeners know, that he hasn't been very good thus far this season. 6.86 ERA. They did bring him out of the bullpen in his last appearance, which was way back on April 22nd, which probably, I don't know if he got sent down or he was coming or if he go into the IL, but Yeah, he was just off to a rough start, so maybe he's fixed some mechanical things. But again, without a pitcher for the White Sox, we can't go off of much here, Mel.
Yeah, we'll move on to some stuff that we can handicap fully. Next up, 6:35 Eastern first pitch is the Texas Rangers and the Pittsburgh Pirates, where Dane Dunning takes the ball for Texas, and we have Luis L. Ortiz. I don't know what the second L is for, but I like it. He will go for Pittsburgh. Dunning and the Rangers are -140. Ortiz and the Pirates are +120. I've got no totals on that yet. I'll fetch that out. But Munaf, Dunning against Ortiz.
Yeah, total I see 8.5, -120 towards the over. But yeah, Rangers and the Pittsburgh Pirates here, a little interleague matchup to start the week. Dane Dunning has been really good, Mal, for the Texas Rangers thus far this season. On the season, he is 4-0 with a 1.69 ERA, 37 and 1/3 innings pitched. He's only allowed 7 earned runs in that span. And in the 9 starts that he has made this season, he has, I'm sorry, not starts, but he started in 3 straight games for the Rangers. Let me start with that. But on the season, he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of his appearances. The 3 starts that he has made over his last 3 games, he is 2-0 with a 1.59 ERA, 17 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 12 strikeouts, 2 walks. And the offense has been really good for the Texas Rangers. They put up a lot of runs today. I think they were at 11 the last time I saw the score for the Rangers. For the other side, Luis Ortiz, so far this season, has kind of been a guy that's been out of the bullpen. It's kind of a spot starter for the Pirates, but he hasn't been very good for the Pirates. 2 appearances this season, 0-2 with a 5.62 ERA, 8 innings pitched total, 5 earned runs he's allowed. He's a 4 strikeouts, and 5 walks he's allowed. On base percentage of .432 he's given up. So it hasn't been very good for him. And then at night, 0-2 with a 5.62 ERA. So I think this one was pretty simple for me, Mel. You have the better offense. You have the better pitcher on the mound. I think there's some great value here on the run line for the Rangers. I think their offense can carry into Pittsburgh here. So I'm going to go with -1.5, +125 for the Texas Rangers against the Pirates to start the week.
Yeah, I agree with you. Any one of the 3 bets, if you wanted to say Texas on the money line, run line, or a team total, pay your money and take your choice. We talked, myself and Noah, on Friday night about this division, the AL West for Texas. And Dunning has really been the massive plus because he's kind of the SP5. And without Jacob deGrom, Andrew Heaney needs to take a little step forward. But Dane Dunning's been the one who's really just given them that little extra boost from being kind of a team that are a few games over 500 to a team that are going along really nicely at the top. So, yeah, I would take any combination of Texas that you want to put together. In this one, 6:40 Eastern first pitch is the St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. We have 2 left-handed pitchers going. Jordan Montgomery for St. Louis, and we have Brandon Williamson going for Cincinnati. It's -175 on the Cards, +155 on the Reds with a total of 9.5. Montgomery he's kind of a symptom of what's been going on at St. Louis. 3.72 ERA in his last 5. He's 2-6 on the year, 4.21 ERA, but 3.72 in his last 5. But the Cards have lost all of them 5 starts. He's given up multi-home runs his last twice. However, the Cards are going along a hell of a lot better. They scored tons of runs this week. They've put another double figures up tonight, I think. They put 10 on so far against the Dodgers. His 4 road starts have come in with a 2.55 ERA. And St. Louis 7-3 in the last 10 and been excellent this weekend. Brandon Williamson had 1 start and it was really good. In Colorado, pitched 5 2/3, only gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, which was a solo bomb, and struck out 6 batters. Can he back it up? Is the answer. I think both pitchers can go for a few here. The total's high, but I'm happy to take it. St. Louis is scoring runs for fun. They can easily knock out 7 or 8 more tomorrow. And I think Montgomery's normally good for 3 or 4. Cincinnati's offense isn't too bad. They're fairly competitive against the New York Yankees this weekend as well. So I'll take a little punt. I wouldn't mind a half run back. I wouldn't mind this being at 9, but I'll take the over 9.5, Muna.
Yeah, Jordan Montgomery, like you mentioned, the Cardinals have lost, 7 straight starts by him. He's had 2 bad starts. The last one was against the Cubs in Chicago, where he gave up 6 earned runs off of 7 hits in 5 innings. He just hasn't gotten the run support. So I think, like you mentioned, this weekend against the Dodgers, they've been able to put up runs. They got, like you mentioned, another double-digit run scored tonight against the Dodgers pitching. So I think that may carry over. The one thing I do like looking at, obviously, when we talk about left-handed pitching is how teams are doing against left-handed pitching. So St. Louis is creeping up into top 10 over the last 2 weeks against left-handed pitching in WRC+. Cincinnati, number 18. I can't argue with you. Maybe if we look at a first 5 innings over in this game or a full game over as well, I think that you'll see runs being put up in this game.
Just talking back to the Texas Rangers briefly, Christopher in the chat saying that the Rangers are covering over 88% on the run line this year in the games that they've won. So there's a great stat to get on your side and use
stuff.
to your advantage. Next, we will go 6:40 Eastern is the Toronto Blue Jays and the Tampa Bay Rays. Chris Bassett goes for Toronto. And we saw Josh Fleming listed for the Rays, but now I believe it's going to be Trevor Kelly. Josh Fleming's name's down there every day. It's like a placeholder. Yeah. Instead of putting TBD, they just threw out Josh Fleming. I feel like I've handicapped him 1,000 times. He's never actually played. But Trevor Kelly, one of the lesser lights in this Tampa Bay organization, and a tough task against Chris Bassett tomorrow, Munaf.
Chris Bassett.
I have no lines, sorry, by the way. I haven't got any lines with this pitching situation. I don't know if you've got any.
Yeah, I don't see lines yet either. I think, yeah, like you mentioned, we're probably still waiting for that confirmation on the pitcher for the Rays. But I could quickly touch on Chris Bassett here. He's been really good over his last 3 starts. He's gone, 23 innings, 2-0 with a 0.00 ERA. So he's on a scoreless inning streak here for the Toronto Blue Jays. He has gotten a little bit of trouble on the road, but he gave up, and that was really against the Astros. It wasn't even the Astros. It was his first start or second start of the season. First start, I'm starting to say, against the Cardinals, where he gave up 9 earned runs. But other than that, he's been really solid for the Toronto Blue Jays. So I think you maybe want to continue riding the hot hand here of Chris Bassett. Again, depending on who starts here for the Rays, Mal. I think it's just going to be another bullpen day. You know, we know how the Rays like to deal with their bullpen days when they're kind of down pitchers or trying to get them some extra rest. But this might be a game where you want to maybe look at the under because Chris Bassett's in good form. And, the bullpen of the Tampa Bay Rays has been solid for several seasons. So I would lean towards the under. But again, no lines up yet.
Yeah, you're right. It's Chris Bassett, and whether or not you go with a hot hand, he has been really good. Tampa Bay, at least, have proved kind of a little bit beatable recently. They're dropping kind of 1 in 3 now after that ridiculous hot start. They dropped on this afternoon to the Brewers. But yeah, I ain't got an awful much more to add to that one. So we will move on to a 6:40 Eastern first pitch between the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Philadelphia Phillies, where left-handed pitcher Tommy Henry goes for Arizona, and Zach Wheeler is on the bump for Philly. Plus 155 for the Snakes, minus 175 for the Phillies. Total comes in at 8.5. Tommy Henry 1-1 with a level 5 ERA on the year. He's had very similar starts, really, but they've been noticeably worse on the road. Loads of runs in his starts as well. The last 4, 17 runs, 8, 15 and 15. So the overs have been absolutely hammering in. Zach Wheeler, 3-3 on the year, 406. 356 in his last 5. He's got a 334 home ERA. Philly been scoring runs on this home stand. They're playing a lot better on this home stand. I'm just trying to look what they've done this evening. Now I've said that, they'll have blanked, won't they? Yeah, they won 2-1. So they scored enough runs tonight. I think Philly on this 7 of the last 8, they have won on the run line. They've covered the run line. So if you're going to take Philly to win, I think you can do it on the run line. The minus 175, so you probably get a price of maybe a shade over even money on the run line, Munaf.
Yeah, I think let me see if we see. Yeah, you see it's a plus 115 on the run line for the Phillies, minus 1.5.
Yeah, okay, that'd be my pick.
Yeah, I think we're gonna find out, Mal, in this game about how bad Tommy Henry is or how bad the Phillies offense is against left-handed pitching. Because you take a look for the Philadelphia Phillies over the last, let's do 2 weeks, they are dead last in team batting average against left-handed pitching at 190. Their slugging is also at number 20 at 400. WRC plus, they are number 29 out of 30 teams over the last 2 weeks. And like you mentioned, Tommy Henry, he's susceptible to giving up runs. He's given up at least 3 earned runs in 3 out of his 5 starts, 4 earned runs in 2 of the last 4 starts. So I think we might see runs in this game. I think Tommy Henry can give up a few. I think Zach Wheeler can give up a few as well. If we want to take a look at the first 5 innings over in this game, I'm not comfortable laying the minus 175 price with the Phillies, especially how bad they are against left-handed pitching. So I'll root for some runs in this game. I'll take the first 5 over in this game.
Okay, first 5 over for Munaf. 7:20 Eastern first pitch in the LA Dodgers visiting the Atlanta Braves, where Gavin Stone takes the ball for the Dodgers and Charlie Morton goes for the Braves. Plus 110 on the Dodgers, minus 130 on the Braves. Total here is set at 9.5. Some news and notes on this one. This is kind of the game in the series we've had some rookies come up. So Gavin Stone, I think the Dodgers are going to use their 4th and 6th ranked prospects in this game. Gavin Stone is already, we've seen him so far this season, but then they've called up Bobby Miller. Bobby Miller is going to pitch later in this series as well. He will be called up later in the week. And just a note on Schuster as well. Schuster for Atlanta picked up his first win. Gavin Stone's going to get a few more starts, multiple starts, I think, covering for Dustin May. But yeah, interesting. Both teams are getting stuck into the rookies this week. So this is an interesting one because you got the old guy, Munaf, taking on the youth in Gavin Stone.
Yeah, Gavin Stone got his first start of the season for the Dodgers in his last game, which was against the Phillies back on May 3rd. 4 innings, he allowed 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 runs overall he allowed. Didn't give up any home runs. And that is pretty much the only info that we do have on him. Uncle Charlie Morton has been, I guess we can just say, consistent for the Atlanta Braves this season. Thus far, he is, let's see here, 5-3 with a 2.85 ERA on the season. At home, he's 2-1 with a 2.50 ERA. I think the one stat that really jumped out to me, Mal, about Charlie Morton is that he's been really good when the lights are on in Atlanta, or at least at night. 5-1 with a 2.50 ERA at night for Charlie Morton. He's only allowed 10 earned runs in 36 innings pitched at night. I know the Braves have struggled at home, but equally the Dodgers on the road have the similar record to a home record of the Atlanta Braves. I think I'm going to trust the Braves here. I think I'm going to trust Charlie Morton here as well. It's a cheap price of minus 125. I think that the Atlanta Braves offense can get to Gavin Stone here. So I'll take the Braves on the money line, minus 125 here against the Dodgers.
Okay. Yeah, I like the Dodgers here as well. Charlie Morton's fitted into my old guy fade that I do feel like I'm banging on about a little bit. But Gavin Stone, I think, was a little bit unlucky his first time out. He deserves another chance. And you said the Dodgers are heating up. Well, they've been involved in a bit of a topsy-turvy series with the Cards this weekend. But the Dodgers are going along just fine. And it's not often you get the Dodgers at a plus money price. I think this is a good spot, plus 110 for the LA Dodgers. We are halfway through the slate. I will tell you next about Shady Rays before we move on. Shady Rays is teaming up with SGPN for Shady May. Not only you'll get an amazing 50% off, but you have a chance to win $500. Shady Rays have got you covered from the sun to the slopes. with their premium polarized shades. And do not forget the no questions asked returns policy. If you break them, or you can return them, damage them, no questions asked, free within 30 days. Shady Rays will have your back. For our international listeners, Shady Rays has got you covered as well with shipping to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. Go to shadyrays.com, use the code SGPN for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. And remember, May is almost over, so make sure to take your receipt to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win the $500 Shady May contest. Okay, second half of the card starts with a 7:40 Eastern first pitch between the Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals, where Michael Lorenzen pitches for Detroit and Brady Singer goes for KC. It's tight on the books, plus 100 even money on the Tigers, minus 120 on the Royals, and a total at 8.5. My pick here was fairly straightforward because this is my guy. It's Michael Lorenzen. Often talk about him and talk him up. And it's against these pesky Kansas City Royals pitchers that somehow, every time I turn my back, Noah sneaks another Kansas City Royals pitcher into our fantasy team. I don't know how he does it. Like, he just waits. He must know. Waits till I'm at work and then just gets on the waiver wire and sneaks another one in. And I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them all. I'm sick of Brady Singer as well. Michael Lorenzen, however, has been outstanding recently. His last 5 starts, he's pitched to a 2.10 ERA, 20 innings pitched. He's only given up 2 earned runs. He's not giving up any bombs. He's striking out more batters, I think, which gives an indication of his confidence. He's got his stuff going. Lorenzen's always had the ability, and I'm pleased that he's shown it recently. Brady Singer's numbers are absolutely horrible. 3 and 4 on the year, 7.09 ERA. But his last 2 have been decent. Singer's one of these blokes I just can't get right. But I do think you kind of have to take his recent form as more his usual self than these horrible blow-up starts. Both offenses we're aware aren't great. I think Detroit are more competitive. I would take 2 bets here. I like Detroit at even money, plus 100, but I do like the under as well. If you don't trust the Tigers, I think you can safely take the under 8.5. I like Lorenzen. I will give Singer one more chance.
Yeah, I like you. I couldn't, or I know you like the Tigers here for right reasons as well, but I couldn't put my money on either one of these teams right now. But dug a little deeper on Brady Singer in his career against the Tigers. He's 6-0 with a 2.44 ERA. So obviously very familiar with the Tigers being in the same division in the AL Central. So I agree with you that the when I look at these numbers and the kind of dove deeper into the pitching stats, especially for Michael Lorenzen, like you mentioned, who's been really good. I brought myself to the under 8.5 as well. I think a little duel here between these two teams. I'll go with the under 8.5 here, Mel.
Okay. Next up is 7:40 Eastern first pitch. The San Francisco Giants and the Minnesota Twins. Officially TBD on the Giants. I have Alex Cobb and Bailey Ober for Minnesota. No lines as a result of the Giants not confirming their SP. Munaf, do you know much about this one?
I saw Alex Cobb as well. Give me a second here. Let me refresh my page if there's anything updated. Yeah, I do see Alex Cobb, but no lines yet. I don't know if you see the line. Do you see any lines there, Mel, for this game?
No.
Okay. I mean, I can tell you about Bailey Ober here quickly. So the Twins have won 4 of his 5 starts so far this season. He's been really good for the Twins this season. He's 3-0 with a 1.78 ERA, 30 1/3 innings pitch. He's only allowed 6 earned runs. Now, 3 of those earned runs came in 1 start, which was against the Padres 2 starts ago on May 11th, where he did give up 3 earned runs, like I mentioned. But the Twins still won that game 5-3. He's been, like I mentioned, outstanding for the Twins at home so far this season. He's pitched 17 1/3 innings, allowed only 5 earned runs. 2.60 ERA, and at night 2-0 with its 0.69 ERA. He's only allowed 1 earned run in 13 innings pitched. So depending on what the line comes out here, Mal, I am going to back the Twins here. If it is Alex Cobb, he's been in really good form as well. For the San Francisco Giants, I would look towards the under. Anything at 8.5, I would definitely slam the under for this game.
Yeah, I just feel like the Giants just do the same thing every night. I'm really, really bored of them. Like they're always tight. They've got some good pitchers. They just don't score enough runs, and it's really, really hard to back them because you're going to have to back them. They're going to have to win 3-2 or something. Really like Bailey Ober, huge fan. So yeah, I would be taking Minnesota. Maybe at a price about -130. If I was giving you a line, that would be my line. But the top of my head. So yeah, but yeah, definitely the Twins for me. I just can't trust the Giants until they put a little bit more together. Next is I've been stitched up on the pitches here because it's a 7:40 Eastern first pitch between the Houston Astros and the Milwaukee Brewers. Christian Javier will go for Houston. I had Colin Rea initially going for the Brewers, and yeah. Do you still see him?
I actually see Corbin Burns.
Yeah, when did that happen? I'm sure that's happened in like the last 15 minutes or so, Munaf.
Yeah, when I was handicapping, I did see his name, Corbin Burns, but yeah, I think it might just be Corbin Burns tomorrow. I don't see any lines yet, though.
In your country, Munaf, do you have that song, Driving Home for Christmas? Do you have that one?
I'm sure we do. I'm just not familiar with it.
Okay, you're not familiar with my rendition. I just that song by a bloke who lives near here, who's called Chris Rea. So when I saw C Rea in the thing, it just reminded me of that. So I spent an hour singing "Driving Home for Christmas" this morning when I was getting dressed to go out for baseball, which was nice and seasonal in the middle of May. So yeah, I've got lines -115 on Houston and -105 on the Brewers. So that looks about right for Javier v. Burns. I would have said with a total of 8. Javier 4-1 on the season, 3.25 ERA. He's settled into this season now. Pretty reliable. You're getting good length out of him. So I think you can be fairly confident of what to expect here. Corbin Burns, again, similar. On the season is 4-3 with a 3.48 ERA. 2-2 with a 2.48 in his last 5 starts. So he's been going along really nice. You've not got an awful lot of run support, actually, off this Brewers offense. But, yeah, got a nice win against Kansas, got a win against the LA Angels. And, Burns is absolutely fine. As discussed at the top of the show, as Christopher pointed out that the Houston Astros offense is pathetic. And as much as I don't mind the Brewers. They're not prolific by any stretch. They beat Tampa Bay tonight with how many runs did they score? 6. That's about standard for them. That's more than standard for Milwaukee. I thought both pitchers could go well here. First 5 under would be my play. Nice old pitching duel against a couple of below average offenses.
Yeah, I agree about the under. I also lean with the Brewers here as well. Corbin Burns, Mal, against American League teams in his career, he's 11-1 with a 1.68 ERA against American League teams, and he's already faced, I'm going to filter this down to give you kind of get some context this season. So Corbin Burns has already faced 4 starts against American League teams: the Mariners, the Red Sox, the Angels, and the Royals. He's 3-0 with a 2.01 ERA in those starts. So he's at home. Astros, like Christopher mentioned, and we've talked about it, that the offense is struggling. I mean, if you can't put up runs against the Oakland A's starting pitching and their bullpen, now you're going up against Corbin Burns, I think they may run into trouble here. So I like the Brewers here on the money line at even money, and also do agree about the under, like you mentioned, between these two pitchers. Okay, we will move on to an 8:40 Eastern first pitch between the Miami Marlins and the Colorado Rockies. We have Edward Cabrera for Miami. We have officially TBD for Colorado, but I believe it's Chase Anderson. I think you agree, Munaf. No lines as a result. Cabrera v. Anderson, Munaf? Yeah, I'm going to start with Cabrera here. we know that he struggles with control and location and command, right? Because he gives up a lot of walks. Now, shockingly, in his last start against the Nationals, he didn't give up any walks. And the Marlins have actually won 3 out of his last 4 starts. But I think, Noah's mentioned this a lot, that a lot of the metrics or the velocity and I guess the dip, we can say the curve, the slides, got to take a dip when you go into Coors Field, right? Just because of the altitude. So I'm not sure I can trust Cabrera here. I think that for the Rockies with Chase Anderson on the mound, I mean, I was kind of really shocked about to see how good Chase Anderson has been to start the season here, because over the last couple of seasons, this has been a guy that we've kind of faded when he has pitched. But he did get a start last week on Tuesday against the Cincinnati Reds. 5 innings pitched in that game. Now he only allowed 1 hit to the Cincinnati Reds. So far this season, 10 innings pitched total for Chase Anderson. He's allowed 0 earned runs and only 3 hits. So I'll lean here with the Colorado Rockies at home. I don't love it, but I like what I've seen from Chase Anderson thus far. And this could be another game where Edward Cabrera can give up 4 or 5 walks, and that's how the Rockies take advantage of it. So I'll lean here with the Colorado Rockies on the money line.
I kind of do love it, Munaf. It's the same decision that you've made, but you're saying you don't love it. I'm quite enamored with Chase Anderson. It looks like he's a bit of a Coors Field specialist, in fact. Small sample. I'll grant you probably go for 12 runs tomorrow. Now I've said that, but he's pitched well at home, and again, Miami very much in the same boat as the Giants for me. It's just I find it really hard to. I'm picking them for an under, and it's just so hard to pick them to win a game when you know you're getting kind of maximum 3 or 4 runs out of them. I don't know what the price will be, but I'm happy to take a punt with the Rockies at home, which we're quite keen on doing here on the show anyway. So that will be my pick. The penultimate game on the show tonight is the 9:38 Eastern first pitch between the Boston Red Sox and the LA Angels. Tanner Houck for Boston, TBD again for the Angels. I've got Chase Silseth going for the Angels, whether or not you can confirm or deny, Munaf. No lines as a result, but happy to handicap it. Did you have anything on this, Munaf, at all on the Angels pitching? I don't think so.
I don't see anything yet. I still see TBD, but Tanner Houck for sure for the Red Sox though.
Tanner Houck 3-3 on the year, 5.48 ERA. Last 5 starts, he's given up 4-3, 6-3-3. So he's contributed fully to the Red Sox overs that we've enjoyed taking so much. You kind of know what you're going to get out of Houck. I quite like him as it goes, but he's good for 3 runs minimum. Silseth that's hard to say. Silseth is a long reliever, so this is kind of bullpen day or a bit of an opener. We might say a piggyback starter for the Angels. 3 1/3 has been his deepest outing so far this season. He's given up 4 earned runs and 3 earned runs twice in the 3 games that he's gone that deep into those games. I would take a look at, really, before you handicap, the reason there's no lines is you need to take a look at what the Angels bullpen does tonight. The Angels are currently locked in a 1-1 duel with the Minnesota Twins. So they will be the remaining at home, but they've got these. They're going to empty the bullpen tomorrow to follow Silseth. So it all depends what they've done tonight. But I think the first 5 over in that case look the most reliable bet, because, like I say, Tanner Houck does contribute. Silseth has gone 4-3 the few times he's gone this far. I think we can get over a nice total early doors, Muna.
Yeah, I may want to take a look at the Angels team total as well in this game. I know I was watching the Red Sox and the Padres game earlier, and Corey Kluber only lasted 2 1/3 innings in that game. And if you take a look of how many runs the opposition has scored when Tanner Houck has started for the Red Sox, just to put into context here, Mal. So I'll go back to around April 20th. Over his last 5 starts, he's allowed, or the opposing team has scored 5, 6, 6, 6-10. So now you're going up against the Angels offense that features Ohtani, Trout, Anthony Rendon, Taylor Ward. And they've been swinging the bat very well. So I think that this is an opportunity for the Angels to put up some runs here as well. And again, we know how bad the Red Sox bullpen has been as well. They've coughed up multiple leads this season. So we'll definitely keep an eye on how many arms that the Red Sox use in their bullpen here today, because they're in the bottom of the fifth right now with a 6-0 lead for the Padres. So I think we'll see runs in this game here.
I made a jelly last night, Moona. Forgot to tell you that. Are you a fan of jelly?
Oh, yeah. Why not? Peanut butter and jelly, right?
No, well, Jello.
Your jelly's probably different than ours.
You might call it Jello. Might you call it that?
Oh, okay. Then it's different. Yeah, Jello.
Would you eat a bowl of Jello?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. What flavor?
Oh, that's a good question. I would probably go with like watermelon or like green apple or something like that.
Yeah, fancy. I made red flavor, Munaf. That's what flavor I made last night. So yeah, I'm gonna have a bowl of jelly after this. That's something to look forward to.
Well, red can go in two different, a whole bunch of different ways. Like you go with strawberry, you can go with cherry. So which one was it? You just put like red dye in it?
It was just red. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Red flavor. That's what flavor it was. You're talking about jelly for you, madman. 9:40 Eastern first pitch is the final game, you'll be pleased to hear, between the Oakland Athletics and the Seattle Mariners. Left-handed pitcher Kyle Muller for Oakland and Luis Castillo for Seattle. Plus 250 on the A's, minus 303 on Seattle. Line is at 7.5. I've written down the word stupid next to this. I don't think, Munaf, if Oakland aren't going to bother trying, I don't know why we should bother handicapping them.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to advise our listeners to take a minus 300 north of minus 300 on the Mariners here, but I actually like the total in this game to go over 7.5 here, Mal. I think this number is too low. I mean, if you kind of take a look at Kyle Muller's numbers, he's just hasn't been very good. He's allowed at least 4 earned runs in 5 out of the last 6 starts. He's allowed 5 earned runs in back-to-back starts. We've seen 17 or more runs scored in the last 2 starts between the Diamondbacks and the Kansas City Royals. But if you want to go back even further to his April starts against the Cubs, 11 total runs scored in that game, 20 runs against the Baltimore Orioles, 10 against the Cleveland Guardians. And Castillo had a lot of hype coming into this season about being a Cy Young pitcher, but he hasn't been very good either. You take a look of his last 4, or at least last 3 starts here, Mal. 0-2 with a 6.35 ERA, 17 innings pitched, 12 earned runs he's allowed, only 20 strikeouts in that span. Doesn't give up a lot of walks, but he has given up hard contact. He allowed 3 home runs to the Red Sox since last start in Fenway Park. So I think that the 7.5 number is really conservative. I think that the A's can get a couple here. I also think the Mariners can, put up 4, 5, 6 runs in this game as well, because we know for the Oakland A's, the starting pitching has been bad. And also the bullpen is really bad as well. And early on in the season, the Mariners' offense against left-handed pitching was abysmal, but they've really improved over the last 2 weeks. I want to say they're above league average against left-handed pitching. And now you have Kyle Muller coming in, who's maybe going to serve up batting practice this Mariners team. So I can see the offense breaking out here for the Mariners, but over 7.5 for this game for me, and also probably want to look at a Mariners team total to go over in this game as well.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing I can add to this. At the minute you look at Oakland now, you start looking at the opposition on the run line, the opposition team total, or what the actual total is, and if Oakland chip in with 1 or 2 runs, kind of get you over. So 7.5 does actually appeal as being quite low, because you don't often see Oakland that low, even though the opposition often have to do it all by themselves. So yeah, pay your money and take your choice on any of those picks. But yeah, Oakland are making it difficult to do anything else with them at this point. I think, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have handicapped the full slate of 12 games. Munaf. So I thought it was quite slim pickings, right? Obviously, we've got a few games off the board. You've got one really prohibitive favourite. The lock and dog wasn't straightforward, Munaf. So what are you going to go for?
Yeah, so I'll go with my lock as the game we just talked about. I'll take the over 7.5 in the Mariners and the A's game here. I don't see a Mariners team total yet, but I will back their first 5 team total over and full game. But I think that the A's can They could score a couple runs here, whether it's 2 or 3, but I do feel like the Mariners can put up at least 5 runs in this game between the starting pitcher, Kyle Muller, and their bullpen here. So, typically when we see the A's, whether they're at home or on the road, we typically look at the opposing team totals. Didn't work out this weekend with the Astros. I know Christopher mentioned that the offense has been bad for the Astros, but I think Mariners, they can take advantage of the pitching of the A's here. So I'll go over 7.5 in this game. A couple of more stats here. A's 27, 18, and 2 towards the over on the season, but the A's are also the number 1 team on the road towards the over at 15, 6, and 1, 71.4% towards the over. So I'll go with that as my log. For my dog, Rangers run line, -1.5, plus 125. Dane Dunning, we talked about how good he's been for the Rangers. The offense really broke out this weekend against, I believe it was the Rockies. I think that carries over against the Pirates. Talked about Luis Ortiz, hasn't been very good either. So we have the better pitcher, you have the better offense. And I think was it Christopher that mentioned that 88% of the victories. He said 88% of the Rangers this season have covered the run line year series. That just helps me, gives me even more confidence. So -1.5, plus 125 as my dog for the Rangers.
Okay, love those stats about Oakland going over as well, Muna. My lock is going to be Minnesota. We don't have a price on it. Like I say, I'd put maybe -130. I don't think it's going to be particularly short. I think both pitches will be of a very similar standing. There'll be a little home advantage towards Minnesota, but that'll be it. I really like Bailey Ober. The Giants just don't score enough runs, and just the records as well on the road. The home road splits. The 2 different teams. Minnesota at home have a record of 14-8, and the Giants on the road have a record of 7-13. So I think that points towards Minnesota going well in this one. My dog, I've got kind of 2 baby ones, and I don't know who to choose. Detroit is an option, plus 100 behind my guy Lorenzen. However, I do get Brady Singer wrong all the time. So if I take Detroit tomorrow, Singer will pitch a gem. So I'll take the Dodgers and I'll take Gavin Stone. Double-edged sword on this one. I think Stone can go well. I do think he was slightly unfortunate on debut. I'm happy to give him more chances. And I'm not hugely in on Charlie Morton. I wouldn't want to be backing Charlie Morton at -130. Both of these teams can be explosive, both offenses. But the Dodgers are going along nicely at the moment. 12. They're 12-12 on the road. Not a huge problem. But I just think Charlie Morton's vulnerable tomorrow. And I like to put some faith in these rookies when we see them. It's been a system that's paid well on the MLB Gambling Podcast over the few years we've been going. So LA Dodgers plus 110 will be my dog. Munaf, anything we need to tell the people about before I can go and rest my weary bones?
No, I think we covered it. Another week here for the MLB Gambling Podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, go ahead and do so. And then if you haven't already left us a rating and review, wherever you listen to the pod, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it might be, just do us a favor, leave us a rating and review. It definitely helps us grow the show. So we're going to have some new voices coming on for the MLB pod. So definitely looking forward to that. But other than that, man, Mal, ready for a new week of baseball. Hopefully we can put some more money in the pockets of our listeners.
Yes, moving off. Let's do that. Cheers everyone who followed us on YouTube. It's a good way to get involved. That in the Discord channel. Christopher, always first in, and DBJ, loads of other people as well. So very much appreciate it. Randy was in there earlier on. Thanks everyone. Give the Premier League Gambling Podcast a try as well, because that's good. The host's handsome and good looking. I am going for a bowl of red jelly. So until the next time, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.